sun hasn't come up yet.
Talking to a guy in Alaska, Paradise, Alaska. It sounds like you've been up there a very long time, so you know what's going on. I would just think minus 30, boy, you could die real quick in that. You know, if you got stuck outside somewhere, or the elderly, or something like that. I still haven't looked you up at the map because I'm not home, but I will. How do people make a living up there where you're at there, over?
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of industry up here. Probably the most famous one is the oil industry, the Alaska pipeline.
Yeah.
There's fishing, and not too far north of us here is a huge gold mine, Fort Knox gold mine. So, let's see, the fishing industry.
He said it's 30 below zero up there. He's in Alaska in Paradise, Alaska.
Mining for minerals and just the oil resources. And the technology industry is really developing. The telecommunications is a cutting-edge area for developing some advanced aspects of telecommunications. I'm reading a book right now that is an excellent read, and it's about Alaska, of course, but it's directly aimed at the telecommunication industry development in Alaska, and it explains how it started and the efforts to overcome the great distances and establish a good telecommunication system. But the title is kind of betraying. It's looking for the small villages in Alaska, getting to know the small villages. So if you want to, I can send you the link to it. I'm going down through it now, and I'm finding that I have to contact a lot of the locals because the local hams are mentioned in there as being a big part of that development. So it's kind of neat reading a book and finding a lot of your buddies on there that you talk to. N5XTC, AL7MI India.
AL7MI, N5XTC. Yeah, do send me the link. My email's good there on QRZ. Mostly around here I read stuff about the Civil War and the Revolution, and recently got into reading about the Virginia colony, because I'm living in Virginia and my relatives date back to the Virginia colony, and that's pretty interesting stuff, historically. Yeah, it's how long of a drive on a good day, average roads and stuff, would it take you to get to Fairbanks from where you're at? And could you? Over?
Well, Scott, that's exactly where I'm at. I'm in Fairbanks.
Oh, see.
And I refer to it as paradise because in all my travels, I couldn't think of a better place to...
See, when he said paradise, I wasn't sure where he was talking about. He means Fairbanks.
In all aspects of it, the beginning...
That confuses people when you do stuff like that.
The end. I love it up here. And sometimes I hear people moaning and complaining about the weather, and I wonder what in the world, why they're up here. If you don't, somebody told me one time, America, love it or leave it, or Alaska, love it or leave it. It's a wonderful country, full of awesome wildlife, and just, I can't say atmospheric, but ionospheric phenomena that just mind-boggling.
Yeah, the Northern Lights.
Aurora
Borealis.
Things on HF that sometimes are really tough to explain, but it's a beautiful place in every dimension. N5XTC, AL7MI.
Yeah, when I came into Alaska, I took my Gull Wing out of South Texas and rode all the way up there by myself. And I came through the top of the World Highway down to Chicken, Alaska, I'm sure you know where that is, and then Chicken down to Fairbanks. And then I stayed in Fairbanks for a while to rest up because that was a 5,000-mile trip. And there's some kind of hot springs and just north of Fairbanks there that I went and hung out at. I can't remember the name, but I really enjoyed it up there. But it was such a long ride, and then I had to ride all the way back too. So you know, I didn't get to stay for more than I was probably a month up in Alaska, and then I went down to Anchorage. And I rode down into the Kenai Peninsula down to Homer and kind of vegged out there. But that Chicken, Alaska and the top of the world highway on a Honda Goldwing is the adventure of all adventures there. A gravel road through the Canadian Rockies. Nobody around. Over.
God, if you've done that trip, you've done an excellent trip.
I know.
I mean, actually being out there in the air and to do that trip is very, very beautiful. I've done the Dalton Highway, and it's certainly not a road to be taken lightly.
Nope. Dry out there.
Talking about a period of history that the road is a little bit different these days and perhaps more well-traveled. But the year I took it, it was not well-traveled. Like seeing one vehicle every 6 hours, usually always tractor trailers heading up to Prudhoe Bay. But it's an awesome place, especially up at the Brooks Range there. I really appreciate it and loved camping by the rivers up there that are crystal clear.
Oh yeah, and the salmon.
So pure out of the not glaciers, out of the snow melt. Pure enough to drink out of. They're just so wonderful. So I've made a few trips up that way, but the longest one was up Attican Pass, and I have no regrets. It was worth writing about. Used amateur radio on the way up there. I didn't plan on using it, but I packed away a little QRP CW rig, and we ran into a situation there where we got no emergency, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and we used CW, made contact, and got emergency help. Thank God for CW. If I had not had that, we would have had a long, long, long walk back to the nearest place where people were at. N5XTC, AL7MI.
Roger, yeah, I also do CW. You know the old adage, when all else fails, there's ham radio, and when ham radio fails, there's CW. You know, that's just the way it works. You just have to have somebody on the other end listening that can copy code, and there's too many no codes around now. I was one myself, and I picked it up just to do it. Yeah, you're living in a great country up there. I don't know that I can handle all that cold, but I don't mind visiting in the summer, but I think it'd be a little much for me. I couldn't even handle like northeastern Ohio, so I don't think I can handle it up there. The people that complain about it probably just don't belong there, you know. It's all that outdoor stuff. My interesting thing up there is those polar bear. We used to be afraid of grizz, but the polar bear will actually hunt you and kill you just to do it. And that's fascinating. Over.
Yeah, on 2 points. Yeah, the ones that complain up here, there's a name for them. They call them sourdoughs. The sour in Alaska, they don't have enough dough to get out. And the polar bears, yeah, there's something to seriously consider. I mean, they're hungry, and usually where they're at, there's no place to get away from them. So you need to know what you're doing when you get out there. A friend of mine lost his buddy, wasn't too long ago. It was just before the legalization of the cannabis issue, and he got pretty smoked up. But you know how strips of lean pork are, and you lay them in the smokers there and smoke them up a bit. That bacon really doesn't have much attraction until it's smoked and seasoned. So that guy was bulked up, well seasoned, and had a polar bear he thought his wife was pinching his back side, and kept on telling her to quit it, and she said, I'm not doing anything, turned around, and there was a very lean polar bear poking at his back end, and he didn't think right, and he took out his 3-inch pocket knife and went to attack this polar bear around the neck, and that thing took his arm off first, and proceeded to dismantle as I was his girlfriend standing in horror, ripped off part of his rear end and carried the rest of them out on the ice, and emergency response didn't find it until the next day. Just a spot of blood, pile of blood out in the ice, and that was it. That's the reality of life on the coastal areas here up north. AL7MI.
Wow, that's a heck of a story there. I don't think that guy was going to live anyway. I think that polar bear was there to do some eating, so I think that guy was a goner, unless he had the right, gun or something. But I think he was a goner anyway. I'm surprised he didn't get that girlfriend of his, after he was done. Yeah, it was nice talking to you up there. I like this node because you never know who you're going to get, and sometimes it's good that you get somebody actually up there and has experienced it like you have, and you get to hear all that stuff. I'm an adventure seeker, so it really fascinates me, those kind of stories, and that's what real Alaska is all about, is that kind of stuff. You think about the people that went up there for the gold rush and the hardships that they endured. Man, those were rugged people there. Yeah, I spent some time in Dawson City, Yukon on the way back south. And boy, that place is fascinating. I even drank that sourdough cocktail, if you ever heard of that. Over.
The one I've heard of is the iceworm cocktail. And when I first heard of it, if you've read of any of Robert Service's poetry, if you haven't read any of his poetry, I have one I'll send along that is one to really think about, and in terms of what kind of people should be here. But yeah, get out there and either get one or two choices. You get out and you fight, you work. There's a lot of work to be done in terms of keeping going through the winter time, and as long as you keep on working, I guess that you work up a sweat no matter how cold it is, and in the end, your health is a lot better. But if you hunker down in your cabin 24 hours a day and complain about the cold, then your health is going to go down the drain. So, yeah, I'll send you some of Robert Service's material, and the iceworm cocktail I thought was sort of a mythological thing. And when I first came to Alaska, I saw an iceworm in a little sample bottle at the Portage Glacier display. But then I finally hiked up to the Harding Ice Field and camped up there for 3 days. And the iceworms were in the billions. You could not, they only come out as the sun gets low on the surface, and the ice, the snow that was white turns gray with these tiny, almost hair, a little bit bigger than hair thickness iceworms. And you can't step anywhere without stepping on them. But the next day when the sun comes up, the only thing left are the gray footprints of where you walked. The book is called Finding Alaska's Villages and Connecting Them. And that's the key thing, is it's about how radio and technology connected the villages up here, of which one of the villagers just died last March 10th, 2016. Her name was Buddy Clay, and she was net control for the sniper's net 60 years, and she died at 103 just last March. So, and it was the day after her net control position, so she was right there. The book's author is Alex Hill, and I'll forward this information to you directly with Robert Service's information. It's really been great talking to you, Scott, and I don't come here often. become a governmental control structure that's more totalitarian than it is some other modes. So, at least up here, anyway. So it's been great talking to you, and I'll get this information off to you immediately. N5XTC, AL7MI.
Yeah, please do. I'm walking my dogs right now out here in the country a little bit, and I'll look at that as soon as I get home there. And it was definitely great meeting you on here, and hopefully we'll talk again. This is definitely one of my favorite nodes there, so you never know. Like I said, you meet people like yourself on here that you'd never talk to some other way. So it was nice meeting you, and I look forward to getting that email, and then maybe I'll shoot you something back there, something else interesting. So we'll talk to you again. A7, I believe it was A7ML, I can't remember exactly. This is N5XTC in Hampton, Virginia. And please correct me if I'm wrong on the call. N5XTC 73. It was A7ML.
Okay, Scott, you have a call, if you can remember, Alaska's 7 miles.
Oh, there you go.
Alaska's 7 miles.
AL7MI?
My call sign is AL7MI.
Oh, MI.
Somebody mentioned that one time. All 7 miles. Alaska 7 miles. MI is the first 2 letters of my name, Michael. AL is the first 2 letters of where I live, Alaska. So, good talking to you, and I'll get busy right away. And also put on there a recent photograph of what happens to bare trees up here after 3 or 4 months of being at 10, 20, 30 below zero for long periods of time, and how they go into full bloom and total white. I'll send that along too. So I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and very good talking to you. I'll get those things off to you right away. Thanks for stopping by, Scott. It's been great. All the best of 7 threes to you. N5XTC, AL7MI Indy will be clear.
Copy, got the call correct now, and we will look forward to that email. Thanks again for the QSO. AL7MI, N5XTC, Hampton, Virginia, East Coast, listening. We're clear.